Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about beauty blenders and beauty sponges. I'm going to be going over how to use them, how to clean them, and everything in between. So if you're interested, keep on watching. So the first thing you want to do when you get your beauty blender or beauty sponge before it ever touches your face is you're going to want to wet it. I know this might sound like a no-brainer to a ton of you guys, but you'd be surprised as to the number of people that don't know that they have to wet their beauty sponge before they actually use it. So I like to wet my beauty blender by running it under the sink, giving it a couple squeezes till it gets to be about this size. As you can see in comparison to my face, it's a lot larger than when it comes in the packaging fresh and brand new. After I've gotten my beauty blender wet, I'll squeeze it into a towel to remove any of the excess water so that way it's not soaking wet, it's damp, because the last thing you want to do is start pressing the sponge onto your skin and see a bunch of water dripping out from the sponge. That can get messy, so make sure it's always damp and not soaking wet. After that, you should be good to go. Beauty blenders are not just for foundation and concealer. You can also use it for powder. You can use it to blend out other products on your skin like cream blushes, basically any cream product. You can also use it, like I said, for powder. And when you use it for powder, you still want it to be damp. I know that concept sounds weird, but the beauty blender, when it's damp, it just picks up the powder and then presses it into the skin. It's not like it's creating some sort of like cakey powder thing on the sponge. Just like with any other makeup tool, it's not designed to be used in one way. You use it how it works, and if it works for you, it works. But just make sure it's damp. Nothing makes me cringe more than a dry beauty blender. Even when I touch my beauty blenders and they're dry, the texture is not a good one. I don't know, I don't like it. It's just like one of my weird little things. I don't like a dry beauty blender. But however, if you have used it dry and liked it, comment down below, because I'm curious since I never use it dry, but maybe someone else might want to use it dry. So if you have used it dry, let us know. One question that I get asked a lot is how often do you wet it? I wet it at the beginning of every makeup look that I'm gonna do. So I wet it once in the very beginning and that's it. I don't keep re-wetting it unless for some reason, like let's just say I'm filming and it's been a while, like the camera kept overheating and whatnot, I had to wait, and it dries it down and it feels dry, then I'll go back and wet it. But for the most part, you wet it once and you're done. Another question I get asked a lot is how often do I clean my beauty sponges? And I clean them before every use. Not only is it sanitary, but I also do it because I'm gonna be wetting the sponge anyway to use it, so why not clean it? That way I also feel like I have a fresh start with every makeup look. There's no leftover powder or old foundation on there that could affect the look of my makeup. I have a fresh sponge for every makeup look. Which leads me to my next topic, which is how do I clean a beauty sponge? All you need is a dish soap that is clean and environmentally friendly. And what I mean by clean is make sure it doesn't have any harsh chemicals in it, no bleach, nothing crazy. When you go to Target or whatever store it is that you go to pick up your house essentials like dish soap, read the labels. A lot of the times it'll say clean or environmentally friendly. Those are the ones that you can use on your sponges. The other ones will tend to break down the sponge, will give it a weird texture, or I don't know, I wouldn't want to put something that has bleach on it on my face. I have, give me one second. So what I tend to use is the exact same soap that I use on my dishes on my beauty blender. This looks ridiculous, but this is the Costco size. This is the Kirkland environmentally responsible dish soap. I mean, I don't bust this out every time I wash my beauty blenders. I have it sitting in a little container next to the sink, but this is what I use to clean the beauty blenders. Again, there are a ton of similar dish soaps out there. It doesn't have to be this one, but it does come in bulk, so this does come in handy because, like I said, I wash these before every single use. You can also use the designated beauty blender cleaner. There are brush cleaners that are safe for beauty blenders. I will say I used to use the Dr. Bronner's Castile soap, I think is what it's called, and I found that that soap left my beauty blender too clean, like almost like a squeaky clean, and it just didn't apply makeup the same after that. So I don't really recommend that for beauty blenders, even though it is great for brushes. The last thing I want to mention is the difference between all the different beauty blenders out there, because there are now so many colors and styles and shapes that it gets confusing. And I wish I could make it not confusing for you guys, but honestly, to me, they're all the same, and this might spark up an argument down below in the comment section, but maybe I'm just not sensitive to the touch. Some people say some are more dense, some are softer. To me, they're all the same unless it's the really mini one or the body one, which one is really large, one is really small. I think when it comes down to it, it's like a preference in colors. So if you like the black one, use the black one. If you like pink, use the pink one. I will say where it does come in handy is if you are a makeup artist, because if you're working on multiple people at the same time, different colors work to designate beauty blenders to a certain client, because the last thing you want to do is use one beauty blender on different faces. That is gross. You don't want to cross-contaminate. It can really freak out people if they see you use a beauty blender on one person and then use that same one on another person. So by having different colors, you can assign them to different people and make sure that you're not using the same one on multiple faces. Which leads me to one last thing that I almost forgot. If you are a makeup artist and travel with your beauty blenders, or even at home when you're storing your beauty blender, if it's damp, don't store it in a closed container. I see a lot of people putting them in like plastic sandwich bags and just closed containers where the product can't breathe. Something that's damp in a closed space like that can get moldy. It can build a lot of bacteria, which is really gross. The thought of it just made me cringe, just like the dry beauty blender made me cringe. So I suggest keeping your beauty blender in a mesh pouch. I really like this one from Smith. It currently has other items that I take with me when I am traveling with my makeup kit, like Q-tips and whatnot. Anyway, I really like this one from Smith because I keep the clean ones on one side, the dirty ones on the other side. That way, again, I don't cross-contaminate with different faces, and I can separate the clean and the dirty ones. I don't like clean and dirty to touch because then I feel like I have to wash all of them. Another one is this one right here. It also has that little extra pocket. For those of you who might only have like one beauty blender and not have a ton, a great way to store them is in those like little pencil holders that you see on desks that have a bunch of little holes. Or they even sell these at like Staples for, I think it's meant for paperwork, different files, things like that. And they're just like a single large pouch. So you can get these at Staples for really cheap. So just keep that in mind next time you're storing your beauty blender, because the last thing you want to do is have it grow bacteria and then put that on your face. That can cause breakouts, skin rashes, all the ugly stuff that we don't want on our skin. And that sums up this week's Quick Tip Tuesday. I hope you guys found it informative. Go out and get yourselves a beauty blender. This video is not sponsored in any way, but hey, beauty blender, if you're watching this and you want to sponsor it, I won't be mad at you. If you guys found this video informative, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so I see you in the next one. Bye guys.